Here is my recap and review of Dexter, New Blood, Season 1, Episode 2, which is called Storm of a derogatory word. I'm not going to use language. I don't want to do that on my channel, but you get the idea. And the name of the episode actually trails off of my last recap when I said, there was blood in the snow as the camera was panning out of the last episode. And did that mean that Dexter left blood behind? There were all these different scenarios, and what could that mean? Now, we left the last episode where his son Harrison came home and Dexter took him home. And that's kind of what the majority of this episode was, is Harrison coming into Dexter's life, them kind of not understanding the other's world and trying to appreciate who they are. We also have this mixture with Dexter's girlfriend, Angela. You find out in this episode some interesting stuff. Her daughter starts hanging out with Harrison, and they kind of hit it off a little bit. And there's a couple of scenes in here where some of the high schoolers there in the town think Harrison's kind of weird. They find out that his mom was killed and also that his stepmom died from cancer. We find out in this episode, actually, that Dexter's girlfriend she died from cancer 3 years prior to this. So he was very upset to find that out from Harrison. And since then, Harrison has been looking for him, going from city to city, found out he was going by the name of Jim, and found him here in this town. And there are some things that he remembers from his childhood, and Dexter still sees him as a little child, offers to make him blueberry pancakes when they first, meet up at the beginning of the episode. But what ends up happening, and the major part of the story, is this boy goes missing from the last episode, the one that Dexter killed. And so the police department get involved. He notices blood. He goes outside before this all goes down, and he notices blood, and he's got to get rid of it. And what happens is, because of where he's located and where he's living, this is where they want to set up the command to start searching the forest for where this individual went. And they use his property to do this. So Dexter's got to have them set up camp, steer them away from this. And he takes Harrison. He gets in this kind of like a golf cart type vehicle that he can use to go in the snow. And he uses this to run over all of the snow or all of the blood out there leading to where the body was, just to get rid of it so that the police won't find it. And when he gets out there, he notices some individuals around the body. And not the body, but the body of the deer. And Dexter ends up taking the glove from the boy and planting it out by the road, so they're led to believe that he shot the deer and then took off. He left town. And that's what the police believe happened in this episode. At the very end of this episode, we find out who his father is, played by Clancy Brown, I believe is his name. Very interesting individual, unique voice. Being a voice actor, I'm very familiar with his work. He was in SpongeBob SquarePants, and he's been in all kinds of TV shows. He's got a very unique voice. You'd recognize him if you saw him. And he is in this show. Now, what's interesting is we also have a bunch of girls who are going missing. They've disappeared. Girls are being taken. There's a girl, actually the one that Angela had given money to at the bar in the previous episode. She ends up being taken by somebody, and she looks up and she notices she's taken. She can't get out of the room, and there's cameras on her, and there's a note up on the light that says, "You're already dead," and she starts to freak out. So we know that, and they keep showing the guy's eyes, and so we don't see who it is in this episode. I have my thoughts on who it is, but we're going to see in an upcoming episode exactly who that person is who is taking the girls. So that was the big kind of reveal in this episode. But his father, Clancy Brown, is the father of this boy, and he comes in at the end and tells them, "I want you guys to continue the search. Just because you think he's gone, my son could be out there dying. I want you to continue the search overnight." And that's kind of where the episode ends. One of my favorite aspects of this episode was Deborah is back and is definitely Dexter's dark passenger. And she is not your typical dark passenger. She berates him to no end in this episode for even getting involved with Harrison. And she actually laughs at him several times hysterically in this episode for the stupid things that he's doing. So Dexter seemed a little off of his game in this particular episode. Leaving blood behind, that's not like him. And he almost stepped in it. And that's why it's called Storm of, that's why this episode was aptly named. So we're going to see where episode leads us coming up this coming weekend. I will be recapping every episode during the season. This episode, the last episode, I'd probably give it a 4.5 out of 5 stars. This episode, I'd probably give it 3.5. It wasn't as engaging as the last episode. I found myself bored a couple times during the episode, and it moved the story forward a little bit, but I was hoping with a little more meat to it. With there only being 10 episodes this season, I was expecting a little bit more story-wise, but still not bad. Dexter's back. I'm happy about it, and I can't wait to see where it goes in the future. We'll see you guys next week on the next recap.